All right, what's up, Synergy family? Welcome to another exciting Wellness Wednesday. It is January 28th, 2026. For those of you tuning in live, welcome. For those of you watching on replay, pop a comment down below. Tell us what's your name, where you're coming in from, how your experience in the Synergy Autonomic Nervous System Reset Challenge is going. If you're participating, we have gotten so many amazing comments. Please keep them coming. We are getting better and better for next time as well. We love the feedback that we are getting. It has been really engaging. It's been so exciting to see all of the amazing transformations with people who have been device owners for a while, but never took the time to do it the same time, same place every day. Get that calm, peaceful setting, as we learned from Carla Bass last week. She did such a beautiful job talking about the set and setting and the importance of that for your ANS. And we have another special guest with us this week. The amazing Tamara Bagwell is joining me. She has been with Synergy for over 10 years, well over a decade, and has a tremendous amount of experience, especially with ANS. She's been working with some of the wounded warriors, the veterans, active duty military, and they have a huge need for their autonomic nervous systems to work in the heat of battle. And then when they get home, it is equally important to keep that thing up and running. And as we know, it is the first step in reducing that pain, which a lot of us carry around with us because of the tightness, because of that constant sympathetic dominance. And Tamara is here not to rehash what we already talked about and to go back over that, but to talk about how each of us might need something a little different, might do it in a different way, add things to the protocol that we are doing for the ANS to enhance the experience beyond just the setting and the mindset going into it, but actually physical techniques on how to not just do the vagus nerve stimulation, but some other pieces as well. And to take us through her journey on what she likes to do for her ANS and what she's seen work for other people in the past and still today. And I speak for myself, but I love seeing the transformations when people first get the electrodes on them with the Tenet biomodulator and seeing their nervous system calm down for the first time in sometimes years. And so let me welcome Tamara to the stage so that she can share some nuggets of professional wisdom based on her tons of experience. So take it away, Tamara.
Hello, everybody. I'm so happy to be with you today and to share some information. So one of the things that I like to do is just clear up confusion. There are so many that have done the stimulation slightly different, and the ultimate, goal here is that we're being effective. And so what that means is when you do this, your body physically feels relaxed. And that's really, really important. That's how you know you've been effective. You feel very physically relaxed. So I want to start with talking about how we originally did it. So back 25 years ago, we were just putting the electrode directly on the neck. So there's nothing wrong with doing that. It has evolved because we don't all have the same size and shape of neck. So if you have experimented with only using the Y electrode and you have a long, thin neck and it's comfortable for you to try this and placing this firmly on the muscle, then you should try it and see which way it feels best for you, because that is the goal. So when people get so caught up in all the technical pieces, yes, there are some technical pieces, and the placement is important. We're identifying the muscle, we're placing it here on that back side of that muscle. So yes, that is very important. That's not a personal preference. That placement is very important. But now I want to talk about things that are personal preferences, whether a person chooses to use the flat electrode or if they choose to use the Y electrode. And let me explain how and why that evolved. So back in the early days of using a biomodulator, we were just using this back electrode. And we had to press very, very firmly on this muscle, because this muscle, if you feel it, it kind of feels like a rope. The vagus nerve runs down the back side of this muscle, and you can't really affect the nerve if the muscle is too tight. The people that it may be too tight on are going to be your athletes, your bodybuilders, those that have a lot of muscle in their neck. That can be really challenging. So I learned that working on my son. So I have a son, and his neck is literally like a tree trunk. It is hard and solid. And when I would try to do this and trying to teach him how to do this, so I taught my kids how to do this when they were like 12 and 13 years old. So he's trying to do this and can't, and I'm trying to do it for him, and I can't, because we were using the flat electrode at first. So I picked this up one day and said, oh, wow, this is working really nicely. So that's kind of how this evolved. There was a need. So that's what I want people to remember is just because somebody's doing something slightly different, it doesn't make it wrong. It could be better for them, and you should. Was there a question?
No, I was just going to chime in and say, yeah, that's a great point. And it also, what about the location in terms of what's available? Say I'm traveling, I'm on the plane. I can still use the rear electrode there when I usually use the Y electrode, right, Tamara?
That's correct. And so someone that has a longer neck, like me or like Alex, doesn't have any trouble fitting this in. But we might have some very, very petite necks out there, and they have trouble fitting this in. That would be another reason. So it's not just the bodybuilder types that could have difficulty fitting this in. It could also be the tiny, tiny little petite ladies that really can't fit that in that spot. So just know that either method can be highly effective, and I encourage people to try both and experiment. Another thing that I wanted to kind of clear up, because I get this question all the time, is people feeling like polarity correction is the most important thing and it has to come first. That is a misunderstanding. Not that it's not important. Absolutely, polarity correction is important. But I want people to understand that when you have identified that the polarity has flipped or it's out of balance, that is the result of another problem. Okay, so there's a reason why. So polarity being out of balance isn't the cause, it's the result. Okay, that's the symptom of a problem. Now, most people have some stress in their life. So when we balance the autonomic nervous system first, we might actually correct polarity without even trying to correct polarity. So remember, polarity being flipped or out of balance is the result of some other problem. That problem for most people starts with stress. So when we are sympathetic dominant, it will reflect in our polarity. So we need to correct our ANS first. We need to do the balance of the autonomic nervous system first, then we can correct polarity. But what I encourage practitioners to do is, if you want to assess your person before you do this and then do their ANS reset and then assess them after, you might have corrected their polarity and balance. So I encourage people to try that if you are muscle testing clients and things. That's really interesting to find. Another thing that I like to clear up is where, and I know Carla talked about this, your intention. When you're going to do this, it's highly important to be very present in that moment. Don't be just like, well, I'm just watching TV, or I'm just, checking my email on my phone. That's really doing a disservice. You're not going to have near the same result if you were very present in that moment. And I take this with talking about the work that I do with wounded warriors. What I have found to be the most impactful, because when you're working with a person who has had a lot of stress, they've had physical trauma to their body, they have had major trauma in many cases, they have a very fragile nervous system. So I have to set their environment. So what I do is I use a zero gravity recliner chair. And so the first thing I do is I get them a very relaxed recline positioning. And now it makes sense for them to close their eyes. When they're sitting up or standing up, sometimes they're a little hesitant to really get to that relaxed state and close their eyes. And that's the goal. We want them to get to that relaxed state, because literally what we're doing when we're doing the stimulation is we're communicating to the physical body that it's safe to completely relax. So all of the tightness that's been held in the muscles can just release and relax. So you might consider that method, getting in a very relaxed reclined position as you're doing this. Also, keeping the eyes closed. And I like to have the person visualize something very relaxing. Like if they can visualize being on vacation, they can visualize floating in a pool, they can just bring that mental imaging in, and that can just really, again, setting that stage for a very good result. Because I have seen where people are so worried, concerned about all the things that they have to do, that they can't relax for even 1 second. So it doesn't even matter that they're doing the correct position and the right spot. Their mind being in that chaotic state is not allowing their body to reset. So we're not going to be effective at doing this. So as I talk to people all the time, over the years, I find that they've stopped doing this because they didn't really understand it. When they, took a conference, it was called the bowling ball. We're fixing the bowling ball, and they never understood what that meant. Well, what that meant was there can be a physical manifestation of misalignment with the body when you've been in sympathetic dominance. But there's literally 50 other physical manifestations of sympathetic dominance. I could go through the list. The gut's not working. You're not sleeping well. Your hormones aren't what they should be. Your blood sugar keeps spiking out of control. All of those things can be related to sympathetic activation. So we want to be aware when we're becoming activated with our sympathetic part of our autonomic nervous system, because we don't want to be stuck there. We don't want to become sympathetic dominant, because that's what leads to the downward spiral of health decline and chronic inflammation and pain. So we're trying to be proactive and stay in that healthy state. And that's why the ANS challenge is such an important thing. We want you guys to be in a habit, get into the routine of doing this, just like you're going to brush your teeth every day, right? You're not going to go 2 or 3 weeks out brushing teeth. No one would ever want to do that. I'm saying the same thing about your ANS reset. Just get into the habit of doing it. Have it be a routine. It's part of your preventative care, so that your immune system is going to support you. Because the second our immune system gets suppressed, guess what? We catch the next flu that we got exposed to. Or another one is shingles. How many people out there have had shingles? Shingles happens when you're stressed. That's literally a physical manifestation of that sympathetic dominance kicking in. So we don't want to go there. It suppresses our immune system. It creates a downward slide of all kinds of things being out of balance, where other health challenges can be activated.
Awesome. Thank you, Tamara. So just to clarify a few things, Tamara talked about the importance of polarity. Now, polarity to the uninitiated is just that we're not as energized as we should be. Our cellular battery packs are not communicating properly. The signals aren't getting sent correctly so that our body flashlights, they're not turning on. We can push the on button all day, but it's not shining for us. And the primary way that we correct this is through our biotransducer here, so that everything is glowing nice and bright. However, to Tamara's point, it can be corrected also by a systemic practice like the ANS reset. The vagus nerve touches all parts, not all parts, but a lot of our body. And by doing that as our first thing that we do before we do anything else, that helps to correct those polarities. We're getting voltage in, it's sending that signal to the brain that everything is safe, that you can relax. And so just with our biomodulator, a lot of the times we can correct those imbalances. And if you want to strengthen that, the transducer is your best friend. But if you don't have one, you can do the ANS maybe a little longer, or just make sure that you do that ANS each time you go about your day, and you will set your day up for an amazing day, high energy, low pain, and that is what we're all striving for. So thank you for that, Tamara. One more thing before we go today. I know we had talked about the vagus nerve, but there's also another part of the daily practice that we add for, I don't want to say advanced users, but for people who want a little extra boost, a little something more. The ANS wasn't a total package that day for whatever reason, and they would go to the base of the neck here. Can you explain that piece of it a little bit more?
Yes. So right at the base of the skull, there's a gallbladder point. So that can be a very important piece for a lot of people, especially those whose gallbladder has been removed. So again, that can get confusing where one person is saying because that's their preference is to start with stimulation at the base of the skull. There is absolutely nothing wrong with that. That is correct, especially for someone who needs that. When we are saying that not everybody has to do that, because that can be correct for them too. So I'm trying to explain that if your preference is to start with stimulation at the base of the skull first, do it. If you're finding that that is important for you to truly get the full relaxing happening, then do it. However, those that are needing to do things quicker and get things done faster, just doing the stimulation at the vagus nerve points on the side of the neck, under the ear, that can, be all that that particular person may need to do, because it's truly stimulating right at the point of where the vagus nerve is. There is certainly a connection though, because one of the first things that is affected by an imbalance with the autonomic nervous system and sympathetic dominance is your digestion. So it makes so much sense to stimulate the base of the skull. So I'm just trying to make that foundational piece clear that no, everybody doesn't have to do it every single time. It's a method that is very effective for people though. So do it if you want to do it. It's really a personal preference. And we want to just encourage people to try some different things, especially if you're not finding success. There's not just one way to do something. As I was demonstrating, we can stick the electrode on or we can stick the Y electrode on. Both are effective. However, you have to have pressure. The pressure piece is really important. I've had people ask me, can they just put electrode pads on this spot? No, because you don't have any pressure. Okay, it's not just stimulation at the spot. I wish electrode pads would work in the same way, but they just don't. It's been tried and tried and tried and tried. It is not the same result. So, we're hoping that our guidance and experience can help everybody to really have success with this, because that's the goal. We need to have success with this. And so having pressure on the muscle is a big, big part of that success. So electrode pads are not going to do it. You need to have a way to put pressure on the muscle, because literally the muscle is on top of the nerve. You have to like press into the muscle to be able to reach the nerve and be effective.
Yep. Great explanation there. So just to summarize, you first of all, thank you, Tamara, and please feel free, set up a Calendly appointment with Tamara. You can go back and watch Carla's video from last week too. She is available to take appointments. Our advisors are incredible. They've been doing this for well over a decade, a century of combined experience throughout the team. I have some limited availability as well. If you want to get deeper into any of this with anybody, it's some explanation on that point in the back. If this is new to you, opening up that point, it's the gallbladder meridian. Like Tamara said, it goes through the cerebral spinal fluid, so it opens up the cranial sacral pump, allows that fluid to flow nice and smooth up and down into the brain, which really helps, and all kinds of stuff. We would be happy to explain that further for anybody looking to add that to their repertoire. And to summarize today, everything comes down to stress. All these imbalances, they are stress related, whether it's a physical stress, an emotional stress, EMFs, whatever is attacking your system, which unfortunately in today's society, there's a lot of things that are bombarding us that just keep us in a sympathetic dominance. And our best friend to help us get out of that is the ANS reset on the vagus nerve here behind that SCM muscle, the sternocleidomastoid right here. The nerve does kind of hide, to Tamara's point. So you're going to move it around until you find that right spot. It should not feel like pins and needles. If it does, just move it around until you feel that gentle vibration. It'll probably buzz up towards your ear. Do both sides, only a couple minutes. That's all you need. And you should just melt into the floor. If you want to use a zero gravity chair, that is phenomenal. Make sure that you're in a calm, relaxing space. You don't want any stressors around, no news, no loud noises to distract you. Calm, peaceful setting, ideally at the same time each day if you can, multiple times a day if you're in a chronic state and you need it. And just make it a habit. And that was the purpose of this ANS Reset Challenge that has been going so well. And thank you guys so much for participating full out and sharing your experience. We would love to see some testimonials or just before and afters, whatever you guys have. And just I keep repeating this, but it's worth mentioning again that this is the beginning. This is not something you're going to do for a couple weeks and then let it die on the vine. To Tamara's point, this is to set up that habit so that you're doing it each day, so that 2026 is your best year yet, and then far beyond that. So create the habit, make it essential, something that you do every day, and use the tools at your disposal. If you have your full package with your Y electrode and that is your preferred method, use that whenever you can. If you're traveling like I'm going to be tomorrow, then I'm going to take just my biomodulator on the plane with me, and I'm not going to take out the rest of my stuff because it's too much. And I'm just going to use this on the plane to melt into my plane. It's an early flight, and I just want to be able to relax on that thing. If you have your biotransducer with you, correct that polarity, sync all of those cellular battery packs so that the energy flows throughout the system that much better, This is your best friend if you have it. If you don't, then use your biomodulator to the best of its ability. It can help with polarity. It can help with that synchronization through the vagus nerve, making sure that your entire system is all ready to go for the day. And before I get into the final announcements, Tamara, do you have any parting words for everybody?
I just want people to find what feels good for them. And as you were talking about power level, yeah, pins and needles, it should not feel irritating. If it's feeling irritated, it is not going to relax your body. It should feel gentle. It should feel strange. You get this weird tingling in the ear sometimes, or down the jaw sometimes. You'll probably get a little muscle twitching and contraction, but it should not be painful. No pain should be involved in this. Any discomfort, then that means you've got it too high. You need to turn it down and use it longer, not stronger. We want to take a little extra time, but don't crank up the power. You're not going to hurry and get this done. And what I try to explain to people is, just like you can't just sit down and meditate the first time, you have to practice. Think of it like that. You have to practice this. You can't force it. So cranking up the power and thinking, well, I'm just going to get it done in 60 seconds, like that, it's going to be done. No, it's not going to be effective. There's no point in trying to rush this and force it, because your autonomic nervous system says, no, you can't rush me. I'm going to do what I'm going to do. So be gentle with yourself. That's the important thing.
Yep, that's a great point. Like I talked about 2 weeks ago, if you try to do too much, then the amazingness that are in these devices, that biphasic sine wave that is so gentle, so compatible with your body, it's going to backfire, because it's going to be too strong for your cells to integrate, and it's going to treat it like something harsh, like an enemy, and it'll keep you in that sympathetic dominance because it sees a threat. You want to calm everything down, let it know that everything is okay, and that's when you start to feel that release from your shoulders. That tension goes away, everything starts to melt. And that's when, if you do have pain, then you can move to the pain that much easier and relax that away at the location. And because your entire system is now calm. So thank you so much, Tamara, for that. Just a last couple announcements here. No matter when you are watching this, please call in if you have any questions. If you have equipment already, amazing. We can help you use it even better. If you know somebody who could use the equipment, I know that 10% off discount that expired last week, but call us, see what we have going on. We don't advertise all of the specials. We are here to help and get these devices into the hands of as many people as possible. So call in, see what we can do. We're happy to customize something just for you or somebody that you know that needs these things. And we'll have some new specials and announcements for those that are doing the challenge and those that are just getting into it to further their journey, because we know that most of you that are here now have this stuff. So what's the next step? What can you do to make it even better? How can you stack things? How can you add to what you have currently? So we're going to have some exciting announcements as our challenge wraps up, so that you can continue on through the rest of 2026 and beyond to make this year the best year ever, and to really put your health first, so that you can do all of the other things that you want to do now that you have the energy and that the pain is gone, like it is for me. So thank you, Tamara, so much. Thank you all for watching. We are here for you guys, and please reach out anytime. We have live chat. We have you can call into the office anytime, ask to be transferred to Tamara, to Carla, to me, to any of our amazing staff at any time. We're going to post our emails, and or you can always email live.well@synergy.us if you want to get the whole team involved. And you can set up a Calendly appointment directly on the website as well. We would be happy to set up a free consultation, 30 minutes, and go through what we can do for you, what your unique situation calls for. Again, we are not a medical office. This is not medical advice. We are just here to help and to share what these amazing devices have done for us, and we know can do for you. We've seen it thousands and thousands of times over the past 20 years, and we would be happy to help you in any way that we can. Thank you guys for another amazing Wellness Wednesday. Thank you, Tamara, so much for sharing your expertise with all of us, and I will see you next week, where we're going to start our device specific Wellness Wednesdays, starting, of course, with the OG, the original Tenant biomodulator right here. What makes it so different? What makes it so effective? And each week we will bring you some new exciting information that you probably haven't seen before that will just excite you. I know I'm getting excited the more I do in research for this stuff, and I keep finding out new tricks with these things that I'm excited to share with you as well. And we'll have all kinds of special guests throughout the year too. Thank you guys for tuning in. We will see you next week. Take care, everybody.